We're going to take a moment here to change guests in the chair. Remind you, you're watching Health This Week. For more information, go to our website, healththisweek.com. And the fast change artist is Dr. Sheila Forman, clinical psychologist, great friend of us here at Health This Week. Always a pleasure to see you.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Now, Sheila, you're one of the happiest people I know.
You're going to make me laugh. Yes.
Listen, that was the goal here, right?
Thank you. Yeah,
honestly, you're one of the happiest people I know, so I can't ever imagine that you might wake up in a grumpy mood. But that happens to a lot of people on a daily basis, and that can really not only ruin their day, but ruin the day of just about everyone they come in contact with.
Of course, it's the proverbial getting up on the wrong side of the bed syndrome. Sure, it happens to all of us. It does happen to me from time to time, too. As a matter of fact, I woke up this morning in a very good mood, excuse me, and then I walked past my answering machine and I saw it blinking, and it reminded me of a phone call I had to return, and immediately my mood changed. Ooh. And I got grumpy because I didn't want to have to deal with this. And I could tell in that moment there was a thought that switched my mood, and that's the secret to moving out of a grumpy mood into a better mood. You have to catch the thought that sets us up for that bad mood, that sets us up for that bad day.
Well, I can remember being in a grocery store line one time with maybe about 12 or 13 things in the basket, and someone wedged their way between the candy counter and my basket and just cut right in front of me, and looked at me and said, "I only have 2." And I mean, at that moment I went from being just the happiest guy on the planet to like, I can't believe the nerve.
Right.
And you're right, just one little thing like that can set you off.
And so you have to catch that thought, identify it, and then challenge it. And so what I did with my example from this morning is I found myself sort of getting aggravated that this person's a nuisance to me, and yet I have to deal with it. So what I did is what I recommend to many of my patients is take a time out, take a break. So even though I was in a little bit of a bad mood, I got into the shower, I washed my hair, I just sort of let the warm water kind of wash my mood away, and then I gained some perspective. I said to myself, how bad is this? It's really not that bad. Within 5 minutes, I will deal with this problem, it'll be over, and I can go on with my day. And that's what I did, and it was all over. So it's about catching your thought, taking a time out, and then gaining some perspective.
Well, it's interesting because I try to think of the fact that, even though we are all individuals, we are also members of the human race, of society. We have to go to work, we have to drive in traffic, we have to go to grocery stores, we have to do these things. Do we really have the right to impart our bad mood on everyone else? I mean, they didn't do anything. The person that cuts you off in traffic, you don't know what's happened to their life in the last 24 hours. Is it just easier to say, okay, fine, I'll get to work 3 seconds later? And that type of thing. Are these the kinds of mental thoughts that you really should be working with to eliminate this moodiness that seems to affect everyone?
Absolutely, 100%. It's about gaining perspective and having the perspective for the other person. So that person that jumped in front of you with the 2 items, I don't know what her story is or what his story is, but if you can have some empathy, you say, okay, obviously something's going on for this person. I won't get aggravated by it because I'm not going to let it ruin my day. If they need to go in front of me, then let them go in front of me. Sometimes somebody else will do the same thing for me.
It's interesting because, I mean, let's face it, there are people who are just plain rude as a matter of course. And when you encounter someone like that, that can set you into a bad mood for the rest of the day. When you do encounter these rude people, how do you overcome that?
Here's the secret. You kill them with kindness. You take their power away. Because when they're rude, they're looking to get a rise out of you. If you don't play the game, they're not going to get anything out of it. It's kind of like if you're playing tug of war with a rope. If you drop the rope, there's no more war. So if somebody is rude and you're polite to them, and that's kind of how I handled this phone call this morning too. I killed her with kindness because she was ready for a fight, and the whole thing went away. So that's a secret. Kill them with kindness.
Okay. Let's say that I'm going to go back to the beginning of our interview. You just wake up and you're in a foul mood. And it's just nothing is right. The coffee didn't taste right. You went downstairs and a bird deposited his belongings on the roof of your car that you just had washed yesterday.
Of course, absolutely.
You take your normal route to work, and there's a SIG alert, and it takes you 45 minutes longer. You get to work, your boss just chews you out because you're 45 minutes late. Everything has gone wrong, and you're like, I should have just stayed in bed.
And sometimes you do. You just stay in bed, pull in the covers. Yeah.
What's the mental thought to get you past a morning of everything going wrong? Because that could destroy a week.
It could destroy a week, it could destroy a marriage. Really what happens is with that very first moment when you wake up, and again, there is a thought that's going to provoke it. So you wake up and you have a thought, that thought sets it up. The sooner you can catch it and shift gears, the better. Otherwise, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, and what you start to see and experience is all the bad stuff. There'll be another morning you wake up, you burn the toast, it doesn't bother you. This morning it will aggravate you. So it really is about shifting your perspective as you go along.
And it's very, very interesting, because whenever I ask you for advice on a variety of topics, it almost always seems that your advice is to look inward and solve the problem yourself.
Well, I am a shrink after all.
Dr. Sheila Forman. If you'd like more information about Dr. Sheila, go to her website, drsheilaforman.com. Sheila, always a pleasure.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.